Hello and welcome to another session of Daily Prelims Practice. Here we will take up MCQs based on important news and articles that have featured in The Hindu and Indian Express newspaper. Topics for today's discussion are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. Now, inspiration for the first two questions of today's discussion comes from this news which featured on page number 1 of The Hindu newspaper. News talks about the Joint Parliamentary Committee as well as the FPO, that is follow on public offer. Now there is an uproar in Parliament by the opposition demanding a joint parliamentary committee probe in the matters related to recent development in Adani Group. Opposition has cited public interest and risk to saving of people. Now our first question is based on the follow-on public offer, that is FPO, and the second question is based on the JPC, that is Joint Parliamentary Committee. Now UPSC has been asking question based on important key economic terms that are featuring in news. As in 2022, it has asked question based on indirect transfers. So let's have a look at today's practice question. Question says, with reference to FPO, consider the following statements. Statement 1 says, it is the issuance of shares after the company is listed on a stock exchange. Now this is a correct statement. As you all know, IPO and FPO are two basic fundamental ways a company raises money from the equity market. Now, initial public offering is the first time a company goes public, and FPO is a follow-up to the IPO as the name suggests. A follow-on public offer is the issuance of shares after the company is listed on a stock exchange while offering the IPO. In other words, an FPO is an additional issue, whereas an IPO is an initial or first issue. Now, statement 2 says number of shares always increases whenever a company comes up with follow-on public offer, that is FPO. Now, this statement is incorrect. As in case of FPO, there are two routes, namely dilutive and non-dilutive. In dilutive FPO, the company issues an additional number of shares in the market for the public to buy. That means there is an increase of share. However, non-dilutive FPO takes place when the larger shareholders of the company, like that of board of directors or founders, sell their privately held shares in the market. So this technique does not increase the number of shares for the company. It just increases the number of shares available for the public. Now third statement says FPO is a cheaper and safer option as compared to an IPO. Now this statement is correct because when it comes to an FPO, you already have an idea about the company, the business, the management strategy, financials, and all other parameters. The additional shares bring down the prices. So FPO is cheaper also and safer also. So as you had to find the correct statement, our answer would be C, that is 1 and 3 only. Now answer for this PYQ is D. Now UPSC has been previously asking question based on parliamentary committees. As you can see here in 2018, it has asked a question based on a role of a parliamentary committee. So we have taken up today's practice question on a similar line on the basis of Joint Parliamentary Committee, that is JPC. Question says, with respect to JPC, consider the following statements. You have to identify the correct statements. Statement 1 says, as per the rules of parliamentary procedures, it has to be constituted every year. Now this statement is incorrect, as JPC is an ad hoc body. It is set up for a specific object and duration. JPC are set up by a motion passed in one house of the parliament and agreed to by the other house. As for example, the motion to constitute a JPC on the stock market scam in 2001 and pesticide residue in soft drink JPC in 2003. So it is not constituted every year. Now second statement says committee has a fixed composition of 21 members from Lok Sabha and 10 members from Rajya Sabha. Now this statement is again incorrect, as the details regarding membership and subjects are decided by the parliament. The number of members can vary. There are twice as many Lok Sabha members as the Rajya Sabha. For example, the motion on the stock market scam constituted a JPC of 30 members. of which 20 were from Lok Sabha while 10 were from Rajya Sabha. And similarly, JPC on pesticide included 10 members from the Lok Sabha and 5 members from the Rajya Sabha. Statement 3 says the committee gets disbanded following the submission of its report to the President. Now this statement is also incorrect, as the JPC recommendations have persuasive value, but the committee cannot force the government to take any action on the basis of its report. The committee gets disbanded following the submission of its report to Parliament and not the President. So you had to find the correct statement, and none of the above statements are correct. Our answer would be D, that is none of the above. Answer for this previous year MCQ is B, that is Committee on Subordinate Legislation. Now our next question is based on this news which featured on the page number 7 of the Hindu newspaper. Now the budgetary allocation for Upper Bhadra project has created a sense of anguish among the people of Kurnool and Anantapur district of Andhra Pradesh. They feel it could deprive them or delay getting their share of allocated water from the Tungabhadra dam. Now UPSC has been asking questions based on important rivers, their tributaries, or any specific development related to particular river. As in 2017, it has asked a question based on river Teesta. So let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, consider the following statements with reference to Tungabhadra River. Statement 1 says the river flows through the states of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. This statement is incorrect. As you all know, Tungabhadra River is a major tributary of the Krishna River, which drains into Bay of Bengal. It is formed by the confluence of Tung River and Bhadra River. Both Tung and Bhadra River originate on the eastern slopes of the Western Ghat in the state of Karnataka. It flows through the state of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, not Tamil Nadu. Now second statement says the ancient name of river was Sadanira. This statement is also incorrect, as the ancient name of Tungabhadra River was Pampa. Statement 3 says Hampi is located on the banks of the Tungabhadra River. This statement is correct, as the UNESCO World Heritage City of Hampi is located on the banks of Tungabhadra River. So as you had to find the correct statements, our answer would be C, that is 3 only. Answer for this PYQ is B, that is 2 only. Inspiration for our next question is based on this article which featured on page number 9 of the Hindu newspaper. Article talks about whether the government should put out a white paper on Ladakh. Now context of this article is not that important from prelims examination, but Ladakh region is important from the perspective of geographical map based question. Now UPSC has been asking question based on important river systems. As in 2015, it has asked a question based on Godavari river system. So we have taken up the most important river system from the Ladakh region, that is Indus river system. And we have curated a similar question in which you have to consider the following river, namely Shekhar, Tochi, Hunza and Seti. And you have to tell which of the above are tributaries of Indus. Now Indus receives a number of Himalayan tributaries such as Shyok, the Gilgit, Zaskar, the Hunza, the Nubra, the Shekhar, the Gasting and the Dras. It finally emerges out of the hills near Attock, where it receives the Kabul River as its right bank tributary. The other important tributaries joining the right bank of the Indus are Khurram, Tochi and the Gomal. They all originate in the Suleiman ranges. The river flows southward and receives a little above Mithankot. Now the fourth option, that is Seti, is a tributary of river Ghaghra along with the river Tila and Beri. It is not a tributary of Indus. So our answer would be A, that is 1, 2 and 3. Answer for this PYQ is 2 and 3 only. Now our next question is based on this news which featured on page number 3 of the Hindu newspaper. News talks about a major setback for the ruling alliance in Maharashtra, in which BJP has lost MLC election to opposition, that is MVA alliance. Now in 2015, UPSC has asked question based on the features and facts related to State Legislative Assembly and State Legislative Council. So we have taken up a question based on legislative councils. You have to consider following statement and identify the correct statement out of it. Statement 1 says the maximum strength of the council is fixed at half of the total strength of the assembly. Now this statement is incorrect, as this strength is fixed at the 1/3 of the total strength of the assembly. It means that the size of the council depends on the size of the assembly of the concerned state. Now, second statement says that 1/3 of the members are elected by graduates of 3 years standing and residing within the state. Now, this statement is again incorrect. As you know, unlike the members of Legislative Assembly, the members of Legislative Councils are indirectly elected. Now, out of this number, 1/3 are elected by members of local bodies, while another 1/3 are elected by members of Legislative Assembly. Apart from this, 1/12 of the member are elected by graduates, and another 1/12 are elected by teachers of 3 years standing in the state, and remaining members are nominated by the governor. So this proportion is not 1/3, it is 1/12. Now, third statement says the parliament is authorized to modify or replace the scheme of composition of legislative council. Now, this statement is correct, as the scheme of composition of legislative council is laid down in the constitution is tentative and not final. The parliament is authorized to modify or replace the same. However, parliament has not enacted any such law so far. So as you had to identify the correct statement, our answer would be C, that is 3 only. Answer for this PYQ is D, that is neither 1 nor 2. The last question of today's session is based on this news which featured on page number 14 of the Hindu newspaper. This news tells that the CITES database has revealed that there is an ongoing smuggling of red sanders. Report has highlighted that there is a clear discrepancy in the reporting of the trade in the endangered species by the exporting and importing countries. Now, this fact sheet is prepared by the traffic. Now, UPSC has asked a question in 2017 which was based on trade related analysis of fauna and flora in commerce, that is traffic. So, let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, consider the following statement with reference to Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, that is CITES. You have to identify the correct statements. Now, statement 1 says CITES is a collaborative conservation initiative of Worldwide Fund for Nature, that is WWF, and International Union for Conservation of Nature, that is IUCN. Now, this statement is incorrect, as CITES is an international agreement between government which aims to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten the survival of the species. CITES was drafted as a result of resolution adopted in 1963 at a meeting of members of IUCN. The text of the convention was finally agreed at a meeting of representatives of 80 countries in Washington, D.C. in the year 1973, and in July 1975 CITES entered into force. Now, second statement says South Asia Wildlife Enforcement Network was formed with major assistance from CITES. Now, this statement is again incorrect, as 7, that is South Asia Wildlife Enforcement Network, was formed with major assistance from traffic and not CITES. Third statement says CITES is legally binding on its members but is not self-executing. Now, this statement is correct, as CITES is legally binding on the parties, that is, they have to implement the convention. However, it does not take the place of national laws. Rather, it provides a framework to be respected by each party, which has to adopt its own domestic legislation to ensure that CITES is implemented at national level. So, as you had to find the correct statements, our answer would be B, that is 3 only. Answer for this PYQ is B, that is 2 only.